Hi, I'm Tamika, and this is my presentation on effective communication skills. For this presentation, I found an article on helpguide.org that talked about what effective communication is and gave different skills that you need and can work on to improve your communication. So, what is effective communication? To me, effective communication is when you're able to get your personal point of view across to someone or group of people without any difficulties such as arguments, stress, or fear. When I have to give speeches to large groups of people, I tend to become very nervous and flustered. It's hard for me to get my views across effectively. Even when it's one on one, if I'm not comfortable with the situation, I can become overly stressed and forget what I want to say. So, this article gives 4 main tips or skills to help you work on your communication skills. The first one is to learn to listen. Being able to listen to others before you give a speech or state your view lets you see where others are coming from and allows you to phrase yourself properly. It can give the other person the feeling of being heard and keep one another from feeling unimportant. The second skill that is given is knowing your nonverbal communication signals. Knowing what you can say without saying anything is very important. Um, the way you stand and present yourself, even when you're not the one giving the presentation, can help others to feel more relaxed. It can prevent the speaker from becoming stressed or nervous. While your posture when you are presenting can show that you're not intimidated by the situation and know the facts about what you're presenting, the posture that you give can emphasize your message strongly to the group. You can adjust the way you communicate by the tone of your voice, by the way you hold eye contact, or by the way you stand or sit. The third skill that you can learn is how to manage your stress. If you can learn to channel the stress that you feel into the conversation, it can again help you get your point of view across. If you do not know how to manage your stress, it can cause you to say something you may not mean to say or phrase it improperly. When you become stressed, others can take note on that and it may cause them to become stressed as well, or they can try to use it against you. The final skill that they talked about was emotional awareness. It may sound girly of me to say this, but if you're not in touch with your emotions, then you will not know what they are or how to communicate them effectively. Having emotional awareness can help you to understand others and their views because our emotions are one of the things that can drive us to do what we do and say what we say. I personally believe that learning how to enhance your communication skills can help you in any situation that life can present to you. Because if you know how to discuss something rationally without becoming panicked or say something out of anger, it can help you to get your views across. In an interview, you may never know what someone is going to ask or say, so you can't prepare yourself as much as you could when giving a speech. If you can remain calm, though, you can present yourself as being professional. Our book doesn't talk too much about effective communication skills as a chapter in itself, but it's kind of a background note throughout the others. Like if at new employee orientation, if you do not effectively welcome new employees or help them with the ins and outs of the company, they can become lost. They may not know how to bring something up to you, but as a manager, you need to know, you need to be able to see that they have questions and answer them as well as you can without giving double meanings or not giving enough information. Communication is not only through speech, but through the written form. In a job description, if you do not present the information effectively, you can give a large amount of people, you can have a large amount of people thinking that they could do this job when in fact it would have to be narrowed down to only a few that actually fit the proper job description that should have been given. Even as a customer or an employer, if you say something meaning for it to be funny, it can often be taken out of context. If your body language is different, or if you were to say it in a different tone of voice. If an employee was making a joke to a manager in front of customers, that may not be appropriate given the situation. These things are that These are things that if communication is better in the environment, then some mistakes would not happen. If your employees are not properly informed about what is happening with a company, then gossip can spread and anxiety will build. You can make employees feel like part of the family if you keep them properly informed. Though I do not have very much experience as of now in a professional kitchen, I do know that from working at the ones at school and from class, that if you have poor communication skills with the rest of your team, it can lead to a disaster in the kitchen. You need to know how to communicate between front of the house and back of the house. If these two worlds do not know how to work with one another, then things can go wrong. With any situation that's given, you need to know how to adapt to it, just like in the kitchen. If something goes wrong, just stop for a second, take a breath, and think about what your next step should be to get yourself and your team back on track. Bad things happen when we're at work or in school. If we can find a way to channel it to improve our communication, then things can be less likely to go wrong. Like I've stated before, my communication skills are not the best. I tend to think to myself, and I'm not always sure how to bring something up to a group. I know what I need to work on and how to improve my communication skills. To others in the class as well as in the kitchen. For life in general, you need to know how to communicate with other people, even if there is some kind of barrier that may hinder it, like cultural difference, language, or just personality wise. If you're butting heads with someone, you're not going to solve the situation. So you have to find a way around all of it so that you can communicate effectively, so that things can get done quickly and properly. So that is my presentation on effective communication. Thank you for listening.